Marcus had always been a dreamer. At 25, he spoke endlessly about the novel he would write, the business he would start, the places he would visit. Someday, he would say, his eyes distinct with imagination. Someday, when I have more time. His small apartment overflowed with half-read books, abandoned sketches, and dusty gym equipment. Each item represented a promise he'd made to himself, a dream deferred to that mythical someday that never seemed to arrive. Why rush? Marcus would tell his concerned mother over their weekly phone calls. I'm still young. I have all the time in the world. His days followed a predictable rhythm. He'd wake up late, scroll through his phone for hours, watch other people living their dreams on social media, and make elaborate plans for tomorrow. Tomorrow, he would start his novel. Tomorrow, he would begin exercising. Tomorrow, he would visit his grandfather. But tomorrow always became today, and today always felt like the wrong time to begin. One autumn evening, Marcus received a call that shattered his comfortable delusion. His grandfather, the man who had raised him after his father left, had suffered a heart attack. By the time Marcus reached the hospital, guilt crashed over him in waves. He'd been meaning to visit for 6 months. His grandfather was conscious but weak, his weathered hand reaching for his grandson's. I wanted to talk to you, boy, the old man whispered. I have something important to say, and I can't wait anymore. Marcus leaned closer, tears forming. Grandpa, save your strength. We can talk when you're better. No, the word came out firm despite its softness. That's exactly the thinking that wasted half my life. His grandfather took a labored breath. When I was your age, I was just like you, full of dreams but empty of action. I told myself I had time to reconcile with my brother after our argument, time to learn to play the piano, time to take your grandmother to Paris, like I'd promised on our wedding night. He paused, tears trailing down his weathered cheeks. My brother died in a car accident 3 years after our fight. We never spoke again. I never learned to play that piano. It sat in our living room for 30 years, gathering dust. And your grandmother, God rest her soul, I never took her to Paris. I was always saving for it, planning for it, waiting for the right time. She died waiting for that someday. The old man's grip tightened on Marcus's hand. Do you know what she said to me on her deathbed? She said, I wish we'd been poorer and lived more. That broke something in me, boy. We had the money. We had the time. What we didn't have was the courage to stop waiting. Marcus felt his throat tighten, unable to speak. Time, Marcus, is the only currency that matters. You can earn back money. You can find new opportunities. But time? Once it's spent, it's gone forever. And the tragedy is, we never know how much we have left. His grandfather's eyes locked onto his. I see you waiting, boy. Waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect circumstances, the perfect version of yourself. But perfection is just fear wearing a disguise. You're waiting for a tomorrow that might never come. The words struck Marcus like a physical blow. He sat by his grandfather's bedside through the night, those words echoing in his mind. He thought about all the visits he'd postponed, all the conversations they could have had. He thought about his dusty guitar, his unwritten novel, his unused gym membership. Each one was a small grave marker for a dream he de-buried under the word, someday. By morning, his grandfather had stabilized, but something in Marcus had fundamentally changed. He left the hospital as dawn broke over the city, but instead of going home, he walked. He walked through the awakening streets, past shop owners opening their businesses, joggers starting their day, bakers pulling fresh bread from ovens. The world was full of people who had stopped waiting and started doing. When Marcus finally returned to his apartment, he looked at it with new eyes. Every unread book was a broken promise. Every piece of unused equipment was a monument to procrastination. Every someday was a small death of possibility. He didn't create a new plan or make a vision board. Instead, He sat at his desk, opened his laptop, and began to write. Not the perfect opening he'd been crafting in his mind for years, but simply the first words that came to him. They were clumsy and imperfect, but they were real. They existed in the world rather than in the comfortable fog of his imagination. That day became a turning point. Marcus stopped making elaborate plans and started taking small actions. He wrote every morning before work, even if just for 30 minutes. He picked up his guitar and started learning, accepting that he'd sound terrible for months. He called his mother not soon, but immediately. He drove to see his grandfather every Sunday without fail. The transformation wasn't dramatic or cinematic. There were no montages or sudden successes. Instead, it was quiet and persistent. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. His manuscript grew, page by imperfect page. His relationships deepened through consistent effort rather than grand gestures. His life began to feel lived rather than postponed. A year later, Marcus sat beside his grandfather's bed again, but this time in the old man's home, reading aloud from his completed manuscript. It wasn't perfect. It would need editing and might never be published, but it existed. It was real. His grandfather smiled, his eyes bright despite his failing health. "You learned the lesson," he said softly. "Time isn't something you have. It's something you use or lose. Every moment is both ending and beginning." When his grandfather passed away 3 months later, Marcus grieved deeply. But within that grief was gratitude that he hadn't waited to show his love, to share his progress, to be present in the old man's final chapter. Standing at the funeral, Marcus understood what his grandfather had tried to teach him. Time isn't a resource you save for special occasions. It's the fabric of life itself, constantly slipping through your fingers, whether you acknowledge it or not. The question isn't whether you'll spend it, you will, inevitably, but whether you'll spend it consciously, purposefully, on things and people that truly matter. Marcus still dreamed, but now his dreams had legs. They walked with him into each new day, transforming from wishes into actions, from someday into today. He still made mistakes and had days where he accomplished nothing, but he no longer waited for perfection before he began. Because today, he finally understood, is all any of us ever really have. And the greatest tragedy isn't failing at your dreams, it's never starting them at all.